Hello, buddy. Hello, buddy. All right, there we go. All right, welcome to the Mikestand. Today is, of course, Thursday, May the 15th, 2025. Hope everybody's having a good week this week. Of course, we're just going to be waiting for people to come in before we get started. Of course, a friendly reminder: you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and/or ask questions, and I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. As I said, we're just waiting on people to come in before we get started. Um, let me see. Let me try a little more. Let's try a little more. Okay, hopefully. One last little go around here to see if we can get some people to watch. La 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 la. Alrighty then. So let's see, 3 minutes. So I guess I'll talk a little bit about what's on tap for tonight. Of course, another friendly reminder: if you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and/or ask questions. But with that being said, tonight we are going, of course, go over the indie comic showcase from Bleeding Full, highlight some comics um, that are going to be coming out soon. Thanks in part to Chris Braley bringing those interviews together. We'll be going over that, seeing if we can help out by doing our part to promote the stuff, and then of course we'll have the wrestling wrap up a little later. Look back to last night's Dynamite, as well as look ahead to tonight's Impact and Ring of Honor shows as we enter the weekend here. And then we will, and from there, of course, we will, and from there, we will also finish things off with this day in each history. Oh, with all that being said, why don't we go ahead and get to our article then? To our featured article, I've talked a bit about it. All right. All right. All right. So here we go. Let's start off with, of course, this article here, the one article we're going to do tonight here, the Indie Comic Showcase. Indie Comic Showcase number 302, Hellzone, Arcfire 2, and Tales from Narrowsville. Um, article by Chris Braley, published May 14th, which of course was yesterday. So, welcome back to another installment of Indie Comic Showcase, the weekly blog where we signal boost a few truly independent comics that are currently crowdfunding their projects, crowdsourcing their funding in some way, or just completely self-publishing on their own. Every little bit of support for these creators matters, from a single dollar pledge to the $25 bundle. And of course, the higher tiers are usually fun too. Even if you can't back a campaign or buy a book, you can share or tweet about these projects to your friends and followers, or you can, of course, you can always catch, when he does these articles, you can always catch us here every Thursday when we go over the articles ourselves. You can always get the information that way as well. On Indie Comic Showcase, we interview the creators, show off some art, and tell you how you can check out the product for yourself. Below, we have some outstanding crowdfunding campaigns this week for you to learn about, enjoy, and hopefully support by backing one or more of them. Thanks for checking these out and for being the best part of Indie Comics Showcase. Let's jump in. So let's go ahead and let me go grab the link to the first comic here, Hellzone. Let's go grab that link where we can share that. And this looks like it's going to be an independent site here. I'm at Inkslayer here. All right. And now, with that being said, let's see. We got the first one, Hellzone by Simon Sim Pothier. I would think it's. I don't know if it's pronounced Pothier. Hey, Omer. Thanks for popping in. If you haven't already, you can help out by liking and sharing the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I'll try to answer the question to the best of my ability. So here's a link to the first oh, I see what I did there. Hold on, I guess I need to just delete that and try this again here. You grab me, Mike? Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Interesting comment there. You grab me, huh? All right. That is kind of funny. But anyways, Hellzone. Of course, it's from Inkslayer Sim. All right. So here's the I guess you were responding to the fact I said if anything grabs your attention, so feel free to comment. That's just a way of saying it. But anyway, so here we go. Let's get into the interview here. So here's the link if you guys want to go check that comic out. And of course, I'll put the other links up as we go along, as I always do. Hellzone by Simon Sim Pothier. I believe it's how it's pronounced. So, Chris Braley, welcome to Indie Comic Showcase, Simon. Um, Give me your elevator pitch, Hellzone. I think you forgot to put in 4 in there. Simon Potier. Um, a mysterious ship, a distress signal, a salvage team, demons. Welcome to Hellzone. Um, Follow the adventures of Hannah, a highly trained combat medic, a member of a salvage team who can kick A as well as save lives. She faces a ship infested by blood fiends and demons, armed with a hell gun fueled with her own blood attached to her right arm. Oh boy. Talk about a human form of Megatron, huh? Ah, let's see. And aided by Orin, a priest monk, this book delivers 78 pages of bloody mayhem in full color. Let's see. Chris, what inspired Hellzone and what led to you to self publish it? Sim. Um, the idea came from my friend Aaron Calamari, who likes me, loves sci- who like me loves sci-fi horror movies. He approached me with the title and the first 5-page teleporter scene pitch, asking if I'd be interested in co-creating, developing, writing, and illustrating the book. He helped with dialogue and got the book lettered. I plotted the story, wrote and drew the first 32 pages in 2 months. But the project was shelved after a year due to personal issues on his end. Later, he gave me the green light and the rights to complete the book myself, so I did. Hellzone is my love letter to the sci-fi horror films of the 80s and 90s, like the Alien franchise, Galaxy of Terror, Predator, Life Force, Forbidden World, and newer ones like Event Horizon and Pandorum. Um, I also grew up reading Heavy Metal magazine, French comics by Juan Jimenez and Jodorowsky, mature manga, and watching animated films like Heavy Metal and anime. All of these were heavily influenced. All of these have heavily influenced my writing and art style. Hmm. And in anime and manga, there is quite a bit of material there in terms of the horror side of things. So um, I know a few good ones myself. So just playing. Please like and subscribe. As I thank you there, Omer. All right. So Chris, what kind of readers will enjoy this comic? Sim. It's for mature readers who love space and adventure and sci-fi horror in the spirit of classic heavy metal magazine. Manga and anime fans also appreciate it, as those are big influences for me, just like the many of the original Image Comic founders. If you love action-packed stories, want to be entertained, and aren't into preachy comics, this is for you. Chris then asked, "How would you describe your artistic and creative process?" Sim. My art style is a blend of American and French comics with animation influences. Artists like Art Adams, John Byrne, Frank Miller, Mark Silvestri, Jim Lee, Eric Larson, Todd McFarlane, Rob Liefeld, Wills Portaccio, Dale Cohn, um, let's see, Jeff Campbell, Joe Madeira, and Adam Warren have all influenced me. Manga-wise, I draw inspiration from Masamune Shiro, Yasuhiro uh, Nitao or Nito, um, Katsuhiro Otomo, and Yukito Kishiro. For French comics, it's Philippe Druillet, Juan Jimenez, Enki Bilal, Mobius, and Ledroit. Hmm. Try saying all that three times fast, folks. uh, my process starts with plotting the beginning, middle, and I come up with key scenes, the quote unquote money shots, and start layouts and notes around them. Once the pages are done, I use my notes to write the final dialogue. It's similar to the Marvel method, which keeps the story development organic and allows it to evolve as I work. For example, Hellzone was originally going to be 68 pages, but I ended up making it 78. Added 10 pages in the process, huh? Chris, who also contributed to Hellzone? Sim. Besides myself, I hired my girlfriend, Alex Ayala, to flat pages 25 through 78, and brought in David Vila as a lettering assistant to help with finalization and effects. Let's see, Chris, what does your production workflow look like, and where does the project currently stand? Sim, my workflow is straightforward since I write, draw, and color the book myself. As of April 29th this year, which is about a couple weeks ago, I think, um, the art is fully completed. I'm currently reviewing the pages for final touch-ups. Then it's on to finalizing dialogue, lettering, and proofreading. We're aiming to go to print in May 2025. So we're basically in the moment where we should be seeing it soon here, I guess. Well, obviously he's got the we just have the link up right there. So let's see. So Chris, what have you learned from crowdfunding uh, with these projects? They jammed the two words together, but anyways, Sim. I've learned that anything can happen, especially when multiple people are involved. It's important to get as much of the book done as possible and always have a plan B. Most importantly, always update your backers. With complete transparency, communication is key. Chris, do you have plans for future projects beyond Hellzone? Sim, Hellzone is a one shot, but I plan to return to Blood Hunt, my first crowdfunded book. With Blood Hunt 2, I already have 80 pages in black and white completed, followed by Tales from the Netverse number 3. So this guy sounds like he's got quite a bit of a catalog there. Wow, there's an attention grabber right there for you, huh? Okay. Wonder what those hands are planning to do. Uh, one can only wonder, I guess. Chris, are there any special perks or exclusive editions for Hellzone? Sim, each platform has its own exclusive covers. Um, the Kickstarter edition, for example, features a very sexy variant. The first 100 physical book backers on both Indiegogo and Kickstarter will receive a free sketch card. Chris, anything else you'd like to share with our readers before we wrap up? Sim, the sign up for Blood Hunt 2 is live on Indiegogo. And you can also join my Ink Slayer website mailing list. I want to thank all the backers, current and future. Indie creators might be the dreamers, but you are the dream makers by supporting us. For that, I thank you all. You rock. Okay, Chris. Thanks, Sim. Good luck, sir. All right, so there we go with the first one there. Now we're gonna take a look at Tales from the Narrowsville. Tales from Narrowsville by Jason Meadows. Here, first, let me go grab the link. See what, and so I can post that. And this looks like it's a Fun My Comic project. Tales from Narrowsville. So, hey there, Fitchozo. Of course, thanks for popping in. If you can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people to engage, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the question to the best of my ability. All right, so here's the link to this next part of the article we're going to be focusing in on, Tales from Narrowsville. If you guys want to go check that particular, it's on Fun My Comic, that particular campaign out. It's on Fun My Comic. Let's see, we got another little visitor here. Hello there, Nick Ort. Let's see. What's the Oot Oot Ah Ah song from the Jetsons? Now that was the song that was featured in the episode "A Date with Jet Screamer." It revolved around Judy Jetson trying to get a date with Jet Screamer. Her father, George, not being too thrilled with that. Having this rock star kind of try to woo his daughter away, being a little jealous. But in order to try to earn a date with Jet Screamer, she was going to submit a song that she wrote. But somehow, but what ended up happening was George decided to send in Roy's little special code that he made up with his friend, thinking that would turn Jet Screamer off, but it didn't work out that way. And let's see what this shows though. If you are interested in buying another poster of John Dillard's The Buckler, I have you covered. So there you go. Fisho's helping with the with some promotion as well for John Dillard. How does that song go, Mike? Eep, op, or let's see. The part I remember most is eep, op, or eep, op, or eep, op, or That means I love you. Come fly with me, so high with me. Eep, op, or means I love you. Da-da-da. Anyways, back to the article that we're going over. back to the article we're going over here in terms of the comics. Oh, alrighty then. Anyways, all right. So, Tales from Narrowsville by Jason Meadows. Knuckle Super Studios presents Tales from Narrowsville. Here, this. Some interesting art there. All right, so Chris Braley, welcome to Indie Comic Showcase, Jason. What's Tales from Narrowsville all about? Jason Meadows, with the highest number of superheroes and villains of any city in the world, life in Narrowsville is never boring. It's an old school superhero comic built on modern, captivating stories. Well written, with beautiful artwork, Tales from Narrowsville is everything fans miss in modern comics from the big publishers. You get 9 full-color comics, 274 pages, for only $22. Sounds like a pretty good deal. 9 full-color comics, $22. 274 pages. Let's see. $22, 9. That's on average about $2.44, I believe. Let's see, let's see, $22. For an average, each comic is worth $2.44. See, that sounds like a pretty good deal to me. That's a far better deal than you see most of today, right? That's almost a deal that you would have gotten maybe 10, 15 years ago? Maybe even further back? Thanks for doing that. That's fine. I don't mind doing it once in a while. See, Chris, what inspired the idea for this comic? Jason, as a teenager, I fell in love with the indie comics of the 80s and 90s. Those comics had a massive impact on the type of characters I wanted to create and the stories I wanted to tell. In parentheses, shout out to Roland Man, Chris Silver, Jan Strand, or Strand, and so many more. Wanting to create my own universe and an anthology series made sense, and crowdfunding made it possible. This is my universe, my baby, and with self-publishing, I'm free to create it however I wish. Chris, who is this book aimed at? Um, Jason, readers who enjoy superhero books, especially those from Marvel and DC's glory days. It's rated teen or teen plus. There is cursing and violence in my books, but nothing too over the top and no nudity. That sounds like it's kind of a street level book. Chris, can you walk us through your style and creative process? Jason, it can be anything from a song lyric to a turn of phrase, or a line from a novel that sparked an idea. From there, it's off to a fresh spiral notebook where everything and anything is fair game. Then it's time to trim the fat, trim a little more, and trim again before fine tuning the dialogue. Inspiration is everywhere. You just need to see it. No dog. Retribution. Chris, who else is behind your own? Who else is behind you? I think it's supposed to be on this. Again, another typo there. On this project. Yeah, somebody hit an extra. Somebody must have double fingered or something like that. Jason, one of my greatest and unexpected joys in doing an anthology book is being able to seek out a specific art style to suit each story. Andy Kernewan, in parentheses, who drew the first two issues of TFN, on parentheses, is a great human being and an incredible artist. Has come back to illustrate TFN issues 9 and 10. So I'm guessing TFN means Tales from Nerosville, I guess. It's nice to have talented and reliable artists like Andy and others, in parentheses. I know I can come back and count on them when I have a book ready to go. Chris, what does your production workflow look like? Jason, I write a script, and based on the mood or feel of the book, I seek out an artist I feel will best bring it to life. When the art is turned in, I do all the lettering and pre-press work for sending files to the printer. Campaign is for 9 issues already printed in hand and ready to ship. It's a jumping on point for new readers while we are working on the next 3 books. And we do 3 books per campaign and launch only when they're complete. Wow! So he's really trying to turn out. I wouldn't be surprised if this guy Jason Meadows has his own publishing company if he's turning out books at that rate. Trying to turn out books at that rate. I wouldn't be surprised if this guy's trying to start his own publishing company. Let's see. So, Chris, what have you learned from self-publishing through this process? Jason, one of the main things I've learned is that I can be too wordy. Comics are an artistic medium. Let the pictures tell a story. From a crowdfunding aspect, self-promotion is very important, and I am horrible at it. It takes far more time and effort than I anticipated. I'm working on getting better at it. One of my favorite aspects of self-publishing is that I am not restricted by page count. Whether it's 20, 24, 35 pages, whatever the story warrants is fine. I'm free to tell the story as I see fit. And of course, this is also the thing I would imagine, and I know we have some independent, some indie comic creators in the chat. I'm sure that aspect is very well appreciated. That you're not constrained by, let's say, some higher up individual telling you, no, a comic has to be like this number of pages, and pages have to be this way or that way. You can do it however you want. You're your own boss there, depending upon what your creative vision is. Chris, are there more stories in the works? Jason, aside from the 3 issues launching later this year, I have at least 6 more Tales from Nerosville story ideas in my back pocket. So if he's already got like 10 if he's already got 10 and he got 6 more, 16. I mean, that's incredible. Again, this guy is just, I'm surprised this guy doesn't have his own publishing company at the rate he's publishing these books. And that are in various stages of completion. I also have a horror miniseries I'm working on for launch either later this year or next year. Guy's quite a busy guy with this. Chris, are there any unique perks or tiers on this campaign? Jason, being a quote unquote catch up campaign, there really aren't any special perks. The main draw of this campaign is offering 9 first print full color comics, 274 pages for $22. We figured out earlier for each comic that means you're paying $2.44 for each comic. Just under $2.50. That's what you could get a comic for what about I know I said 10 to 15 years ago, but it's more like what 15, 20 years ago maybe would probably be more accurate. 15, 20 years ago, you get comics for that cheap. I think that's a pretty great idea. Also, each one of our books features a short backup story, just a little something extra we throw in for the readers. Wow, well, this guy is really putting out some material here. You get the main story, you get a backup story. I mean that's quite a thing there. You know, that's quite a thing there. So that's a pretty good deal going. Retribution number 250, issue number 3. Captain Green, Beach Bloods, Boardwalk Killer. Chris, anything else you'd like to share with our readers before we wrap up? Jason, Tales from Nerosville is the most fun comic you're not reading. It's gotten great reviews, and backers keep coming back. Here's your chance to see why. Chris, looks good, Jason. Thanks for sharing with us. And finally, Arc Fire number 2 by Kevin Davis. Let me go grab the link there. See where this is at. And this looks like it's a Kickstarter campaign. All right, so there's the link for you guys if you guys want to go check that one out. Leave it up for a moment to give you guys a chance to grab that link or click it and go find the Kickstarter campaign. So leave that up for a moment. You guys can grab that. All right, so let's see. Let's go ahead and get into this article then. Arcfire number 2 by Kevin Davis. And Rappi Florentino, it looks like. All right, so Chris Braley, welcome to Indie Comics Showcase, Kevin. What's the elevator pitch for Arcfire number 2? Kevin Davis, Arcfire issue 2 picked up a few months after issue 1, with Kateo searching for other supernatural beings like himself to figure out his identity. So I think we even covered that here before the first issue as well. Along the way, he meets um, Keviris, a vampire, and Coffee, a witch, um, who are searching for the truth behind Kevi Reese's sister's death. Kateo embarks on a journey with them to uncover the nature of his own situation and discovers there may be even more sinister forces at play than he imagined. Chris, what inspired Arcfire? Kevin, the idea was inspired by my love of science fiction horror, movies like Alien, and shows like Stranger Things. So we got another person who was inspired by, well, in this case, just simply by sci-fi. But if you remember, one of the artists earlier, I think Sim Pothier also was inspired by sci-fi and horror. So um, I decided to self-publish because I want to keep the rights to my work and make sure people can get it directly from me, not through a third party. Yeah, and as we mentioned earlier, he doesn't have to go through the whole rigmarole of dealing with, some editor trying to, maybe water down his material or make it more quote unquote woke or acceptable, whatever. Chris, who is Arcfire intended for? What kind of readers will enjoy it most? Kevin, Arcfire is suited for anyone who enjoys coming of age stories, horror fantasy, and science fiction. It's aimed at anyone with an imagination who likes having fun and enjoys piecing together a story's mysteries. Chris, how would you describe your creative style and process? Let me see if there's anything new coming. Nope. All right. Kevin, my style of writing comics is heavily influenced by my passion for storytelling and visual art. I've always loved the combination of words and images to convey a narrative, and comics are the perfect medium for that. Now, how many times have we read that line in these articles? I swear that I think on average I see that line in at least once. And just about every time I do one of these indie comic showcase articles. Um, and comics are a perfect medium for that. So my process usually starts with an intriguing idea or concept. I flesh out the characters, setting, and plot, often sketching rough drafts of scenes or panels to help visualize the story. I let my ideas marinate and evolve before diving into the actual writing. Inspiration comes from books, movies, art, personal experiences, and sometimes just going for a walk. Over the years, through practice and feedback, I've learned to trust my instincts, take risks, and continuously refine my craft to develop a unique voice. All right, so Chris, who else is on the creative team for Arcfire? Kevin. My creative partner on Arcfire is the talented artist Raffi Florentino. Raffi handles the pencils, inking, coloring, and lettering. His detailed and dynamic illustrations really bring the story to life. Working with Raffi has been incredibly rewarding. He translates my vision into stunning visuals and helps shape the overall look and feel of the comic. We built a strong working relationship based on mutual respect, open communication, and a shared passion for storytelling. Chris, what does your production workflow look like? Kevin, our workflow is collaborative and iterative. First, I brainstorm ideas, develop characters, and outline the plot. Then I write the script, detailing dialogue, narration, and panel descriptions. After that, Rafi and I discuss the artistic direction, share references, and align on the visual style. Rafi then um, produces the artwork, penciling, inking, coloring, and lettering. We regularly review and revise the pages to ensure consistency and quality. Um, right now, the book is about 90% complete, with most of the artwork finished and the final touches being applied. We're excited to share Arcfire with readers soon. Seraphate, Texas, a town shrouded in mystery. Hmm. All right, so let's see now. All right, so anyways, so Chris, what have you learned from self-publishing in the first issue? Kevin, self-publishing and crowdfunding have been valuable learning experiences. I've learned a lot about project management, coordinating tasks, timelines, and resources to keep things on track. Marketing and promotion are crucial for reaching a wider audience. So I focused on creating compelling campaigns and building a community around the project. Collaboration and communication with my creative team have been key, as has being open to feedback and iterating on the comic. Um, Most importantly, I've learned the value of persistence and resilience, seeing a project through to completion, even when challenges arise. Overall, it's been a transformative journey that's deepened my skills as a creator and expanded my understanding of publishing and crowdfunding. Let's see. Chris, will there be more issues in the future? Kevin, absolutely. I have about 15 to 20 issues mapped out in my head, with directions being filled in as we go. Hmm. I'm also considering spin offs once the characters become more established and recognized. Chris, good to know. Any last words for our readers today? Kevin, sign up for my Kickstarter and get ready for a new adventure. You can also subscribe to my website at keviside.com or kevisite media. Thanks for your support. I believe he meant to say good, but it looked like he once again typo. Chris said, "God luck on the launch." I believe he meant to type in "good luck on the launch," Kevin. And then there's some other links there. So with that, here we go. So that's it for this installment. If you're a creator ramping up your campaign or have a comic available for purchase online and you want to be featured in our weekly column, click here. So we can hopefully help you get more eyes on your crowdfunding comic project. Till next time, support indie comics. Alrighty then. So there we go. There we go with that article. As always, a good chunk. It was a pretty lengthy article there, so took a good chunk of time to get through. So before we move on to this the wrestling wrap up, let me just go through one more time and highlight the material we went over. So there's the link to Hell Zone if you guys want to go check that book out. I was on the Inkslayer site, I guess. If you guys want to go check that out, there's a link to that. Let's see now. Two more. Tales from Neroverse. That was the Fun My Comic project. There's a link to that one if you guys want to go ahead and go check that one out. And finally, Arcfire number 2. There's a link to that if you guys want to go check that one out. So, with all that being said, now we're going to go ahead and move on to the wrestling wrap-up. One piece of news I forgot to mention yesterday is apparently Jake Roberts had recently, I guess, may have suffered a heart attack recently, or had heart surgery. He's fine, according to his wife Cheryl. He's fine. He just he had to have a procedure done, and he's doing fine. Of course, he's still signed on as a talent with AEW as the manager of LFI. So, anyways, let me go. Look back to last night's as on last night's Dynamite, the show opened up with the tag team match pitting the Don Callis family members Josh Alexander and New Japan Never Openweight champion Konosuke Takeshita taking on Hangman Adam Page and Will Ospreay, as Page and Ospreay continue to prepare for their upcoming match at Double or Nothing in about a week and a half here on the 25th, the finals of the Owen Hart tournament. Page and Ospreay defeated Alexander and Takeshita for in the match. Ricochet defeated Zach Gowen, making his in-ring debut for AEW, as well as making his return to the wrestling ring after a few years. Those of you who may remember, Zach Gowen, of course, garnered some fame about 15, 20 years ago when becoming the first amputee to actually become a professional wrestler. He wrestled in TNA back in the early 2000s as Tenacious Z, and went on to do some work for WWE. There was that very infamous incident where Brock Lesnar had basically done an F5 onto him into the turnbuckle. So this match was set up last week when AEW was in Detroit. Zach Gowen was there enjoying the event with his kids. He was confronted by Ricochet. Ricochet, as he was looking to assault, his opponent, further assault the opponent that he just beat. Gowen got in there. Ricochet ended up taking his prosthetic leg, and that's how this match came about. In an eliminator match for a chance to earn a shot at the AEW tag team titles, the tag team AEW World Tag Team Champions, the Hurt Syndicate, fended off the challenge of Top Flight, Darius and Dante Martin, via referee's decision, which most likely means they were beaten down so badly that the referee just called for the bell. In another eliminator match, this one a 4-way eliminator match, for a shot at the AEW Women's World Title. Toni Storm was trying to fend off the challenge of Mina Shirakawa, Azumi, and Sky Blue. Of course, Azumi, who recently pinned Mina Shirakawa in a triple threat match to become the New Japan strong women's champion, as well as and Sky Blue making her return. Mina Shirakawa ended up getting the win in the match, and this has further set up a match between Mina Shirakawa and Toni Storm for the AEW Women's World Title coming up at Double or Nothing in a couple weeks, or in a week and a half. And then in the main event, saw Jon Moxley retain the AEW World Title in a steel cage match against Samoa Joe. So that's all that happened on last night's Dynamite. So now let's look ahead to and of course look ahead to tonight's Impact and Ring of Honor. So on tonight's Impact, which will be on Access TV, Tom Hannafin and Matthew Rainwalt on commentary from the Brent Event Center in Irvine, California. Opening match will see Rosemary, former TNA Knockouts champion Rosemary, taking on Xia Brookside. In a number one contendership four-way match for the international title, Matt Cardona takes on Elijah, takes on Ace Austin. Let's see. Matt Cardona, Elijah, Ace Austin, and Mance Warner all face each other to see who becomes the next challenger to Steve Maclin's international title. The Rascals, Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz, take on the Great Hands of Jason Hodge and John Skyler in a tag team match. Indy Hartwell makes her in-ring debut for TNA as she takes on Kelsey Heather. Tessa Blanchard and Victoria Crawford take on Masha Slamovich and Nikita Lyons in a tag team match in a prelude to Victoria Crawford challenging Slamovich for the NXT or for the TNA Knockouts Championship. And then in the main event, we'll see Jeff Hardy taking on Nick Nemeth, as it was reported that the Nemeth would give the Hardys their contractual rematch up in Canada. However, Jeff cannot, because of his legal issues, cannot travel into Canada. So Santino, to rectify that last week, said that Matt could pick a partner of his choosing to take on the Nemeths. So now looking ahead also to tonight's Ring of Honor event. Tonight's Ring of Honor event, which will be taking place from the Adrian Phillips Theater at Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City, New Jersey, with Ian Riccaboni and Caprice Coleman on commentary. See the Dark Order duo of Alex Reynolds and Evil Uno taking on the Frat House duo of Griff Garrison and Cole Carter. Wheeler Yuta takes on Matt Mako. Rachel Ellering will take on Trisha Dora of Shane Taylor Promotions, with, of course, the Infantry in her corner. Then an 8-man tag team match. M&M Collection teams with the Premier Athletes. M&M Collection of Mansoor and Mason Madden team up with the Premier Athletes of Arya Davari and Tony Nese to take on Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, the Sons of Texas, Sammy Guevara and Dustin Rhodes, as well as the Von Erichs, the Marshall and Ross Von Erich, who are also Dustin's co-World 6-man tag champions. So that's all we got for the wrestling wrap-up. as it were. So with that being said, of course, with today being Thursday, May the 15th, 2025, let's take a look back at this date in Nietzsche history. So first off, I'm going to head back 50 years ago. Should I pull it up, of course? On this date, 50 years ago today, Toei Animation's Get a Robo G premiered in Japan on this date back in 1975. It was known as Star Vengers in the United States. It was a super robot anime series by Toei Animation based on 100 Demons Empire arc of Robo manga by Go Nagai and Ken Ishikawa. The direct sequel to Robo was broadcast on Fuji TV from May 15th, 1975 to March 25th, 1976, with a total of 39 episodes. Some episodes were rebroadcast, erroneously giving the impression that there were 43 episodes, but basically it was a 39 episode anime. So on this date back in 1965, 50 years ago today, Toei Animation's Getter Robo G premiered on Japanese television on this date 50 years ago. Getter Robo! hey, Metal. Thanks for popping in, my friend. So anyways, as we get ready to move on to the next piece of Nietzsche history here, we move ahead to 1995 rather, 30 years ago today. Let me pull that up. On this date in 1995, 30 years ago today, the 940th issue of 2000 AD from Fleetwood, UK, which, from what I understand, was a comic that started all the way back ran from, I think, 1977, well into the 2000s. Let's see. Cover price was 80p, whatever that, because this is a comic that was based in the UK. So 80 pounds, 80 pounds. Okay, that's what it was, 80 pounds. 32 pages. On this date back in 1995, 30 years ago today, 140th issue of 2000 AD went on sale in Great Britain. All right, so moving ahead to the year 2000. On this date in the year 2000, as soon as I pull that up, WCW held its Monday Night Raw from the Mississippi Coast Center Coliseum in Biloxi, Mississippi. The main event saw Ric Flair defeat Jeff Jarrett for the WCW World Heavyweight title. Kevin Nash defeated Mike Awesome in a ambulance match. This is, I believe, the night after. Well, actually, no. This is the night after ECW's pay-per-view. So, there were two House of Pain matches. Elizabeth and Medusa ended it in a no contest House of Pain match, and then Sting defeated Vampiro in a House of Pain match at the beginning of the show. Crowbar and Daphne defeated Chris Candido and Tammy. That saw Daphne win the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. If I remember correctly from that match, I believe the person, whoever got the pin, okay, so Chris Candido went in as WCW Cruiserweight Champion. Whoever got the pin would end up becoming the new champion, and Daphne was the one who got the pin there. So, And in a 3-on-2 handicap match for the WCW Hardcore title, Terry Funk defeated the Filthy Animals of Juventud Guerrera, Conan, and Rey Mysterio Jr. Says here 3-on-2, but it seems more like 3-on-1. But he retained the match, retained the title nonetheless. So that's all we got from there. Now, last but not least, moving ahead to the year 2015. On this date in the year 2015, voice actor John Stevenson passed away at the age of theoretically 91, 92. He was born sometime between 1923 and 1924. So he passed away on this date back in 2015. So he's believed to be 91 or 92. John Stevenson was, of course, a longtime actor, voice actor. He had voiced many characters that many of us grew up on, including Mr. Slate and the Flintstones, Dr. Benton Quest, the first 5 episodes of Johnny Quest, Fancy Fancy and Top Cat, Dr. Doom and Magneto, and the New Fantastic Four. He also lent his voice to Doctor Strange and Loki in Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, of course, with a number of voices on the Transformers, including Huffer, Windcharger, Thundercracker, Alpha Trion, and Cup, as well as he continued the voice of Doggy Daddy, and it was John Arable in Charlotte's Web. So there we go with that. So with that, I thank everybody for being here tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Of course, we will be back here tomorrow night with more Meech news. Also, we'll be back here on Sunday as Metal will be joining me. We'll be taking a look back down. We'll be taking another trip down comics history lanes. We go back to May of 1940 to go over comics that went on sale then. This week we'll be focusing in on Holyoke. We'll be focusing in on Crash Comics Adventures number 3 and Whirlwind Comics number 2. So with that, I thank everybody for being here tonight, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.